Hi, I'm Maria Koerner. I am originally from Brazil. I come from a family of 9 children. My mama passed away after my birth, a couple days after my birth. My dad went mad against God. That's the point at the time when he became an atheist. They say, how can be a God if he left me with 9 children and the love of my life he took away? He joined the communist party we had in our town, and he became bitter and mean and very angry at all the children, blaming us as well. And I had to go live with his brother, and they had children, so they took care of me because I was the baby. My dad remarried, and so I went back home. um, Life goes on with a lot of abuse, not to me, but all the boys suffer a lot of aggression from my dad. He took them all on the boys, and his sister came to visit from the southeast of Brazil and saw me and asked him if they could take me to live with them. He said he needed a little time to think about it, and he was going to bring me over there if it was okay, if it was a yes after his thoughts. So when I finished first grade, he took me to Minas Gerais, the southeast of Brazil. I stayed with them, and I was a grade school, and yes, they trained me to work on the store. It was like a supermarket, the only store in town. And I would go to school and come home and help with taking care of the store. And time goes by. I don't remember too much prayer time because it was only at the school. And the nuns was not so strict, but it was all girls school. And I remember the last year, that's when they made co-ed, we had one boy. And I graduated from that school, and I had to go to a technical school because I didn't have enough grade to go to a university. You have to compete for one opening with 20, 30, 50 people. So I didn't have enough qualifications, so I went to a technical school to be a secretary. In the meantime, my sister had to go on a second honeymoon, and my older sister stayed with her. Her husband gave it to me, a motorcycle, and I became very interactive with other people that had motorcycles. And then when my sister came back from her vacation, she was very upset. I had a motorcycle, but at that point I had a motorcycle group, and we were all happy, but my sister was not happy. So I started to have a lot of accidents because I was always so fearless. I would always search for something. And I remember I had a picture somebody painted for me, say, who am I, where I'm coming from, and where do I go from here? I carried the picture with me for quite a bit. And long behold, I just kept on going. And then my boyfriend came from the southeast and say, oh, you're living your life as you please here. You are in the motorcycle group, so I'm sure you're smoking pot. I say, yes, I am smoking pot. And he was very angry, and he said, I'm going to the United States, and I come back, and you are my fiance, you must behave. And he put a ring on my finger and said that from that point on, I had to be like a good girl and wait for him and say, fine. 6 months later, he was still in the United States, of course, and I came by surprise. which he was not so happy about the surprise, because he was hoping I would stay there and we'll get married and be happy ever after. And didn't happen the way he was planned. And we had relations, and I didn't feel right. And I asked him to be like brothers and sisters, which he refused and became very angry and threw me out the house. And I found myself in the street with no money and not too many people. I didn't know too many people at that time. But somehow, a dear friend was at the park where I was hanging out with all my suitcases, took me to his place and said that I was going to meet his roommate within 20 minutes, which I did. When I opened the door, he said he fell in love at first sight, which the man became my husband. Long behold, he did not want me to stay in the living room no longer, and he wanted us to live like a couple. And we did. And we started to do everything together. Looked like he was my soulmate. For 3 years, we lived like a dream. I thought I was dreaming. I had a musician, beautiful hair, and but not the drug part. I didn't like because it was hardcore. It was everything in the book except needles. But we were sharing a McDonald's sandwich because we had no money for nothing else but just to buy drugs. And his father gave a phone call to us and asked him if he was willing to move to Illinois. He agreed to it, but not so much because he didn't have a good relationship with his father. His father was an alcoholic and a smokeaholic. He only lit a cigarette at the beginning of the day and smoked all day until go to sleep. So we came to visit the family and to know a little bit about the business, used car dealer, with the proposal to move here and take care of the business before he passed away. It didn't happen that he got to learn the business because we went back to Boston and he passed away when we left. So immediately my husband, at that point he was my husband, we married and we were living a happy life, quote unquote. But when we came to Illinois, with the purpose for him to look after mom was very close to my husband. And she had him promised her that he would never marry. So he asked me never to share that we were officially married. But I became pregnant, and his great-grandmother sent my mother-in-law many times to the house and said that I had to abort it because she was not ready to be a great-grandmother. It took me to this quote-unquote doctor to abort, and a couple times we went there. The people that they had already talked to was not there. So at that point, I'm growing, my baby started moving, and I felt threatened they were going to kill my baby. So I ran to Brazil. I went back to Brazil, and when I was about almost time, maybe 7 days before the baby was born, he asked me to come back, and I did come back. That all the abuse was going to stop, that the mama already knew that we're officially married and the baby would be better off to be born in the United States. So I did come back. And but it didn't stop the abuses because the baby was born on April 1st and no one came, and the excuse was because they thought it was an April Fool's joke. And but after that, they didn't like the baby was more my color. My ex-mother-in-law, she was very strange. She suggested that I have a sugar daddy to help with the bills because my husband had no job, and she was getting tired of supporting us. I say, absolutely not. I'm a married woman. I would never do such a thing. So I met my neighbor. She was giving me rides to the YMCA. She was going to Y for her daughter to go swimming, and she asked me if I would like to put my kids on swimming lessons at the YMCA. I didn't have car. I didn't have any contact with anyone. And so I did take her up on it, and it started swimming at the Y, and the people approached me and say there was a good swimmer if I would like to be a swim instructor. And then I told them I would love to, but I'm not certified. So they say, that's not a problem. We will take care of all this. So I did take them up on it, and I went to be certified, and so I was a swim instructor, and then I became a lifeguard, and then they trained me for the weight rooms, and out of the blue, I was being in 7 different departments at the YMCA, doing a little bit of everything. So that was my church. At that point, I didn't know God. I didn't know a lady. Even though my name is Aparecida, Maria Aparecida, I knew she was always by me. Because in one incident, she showed that she was by me. When my husband tried to choke me, and I had a candle, always lit a candle to Our Lady of Brazil. And that candle, one night I was dreaming my brother was getting killed, and that candle exploded. And I called my brother and I told him about it, and I told him I need him over to the United States because my life was in danger. He did come, and there was the first sign of a lady in my life that she found a way to protect me. I always felt protected in a way or the other, but I just didn't know she was with me until when I started to work out and have all the muscles that I did not expect it. It wasn't planned. And some friends asked me to go see a show at Columbus, Ohio, that was promoted by Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I took them up on the offer to go with them. And while we were there, I met many bodybuilders, all famous people like Linda Morai, very, very successful lady. And then I spotted Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I said, oh, that's Arnold. And bodyguard started blocking me, and he said, what are you doing? Let her come to me. So I went to him, and he asked me where I was original from, and he asked me if I have ever competed, and I said, no, go for it. You win. So I did listen to him. I got everything taken care of that I need to do. And before I went to my first show, I went to this Catholic church in Palatine, St. Teresa. And from the back, I just opened the door and I say, Lord, if I win, I would do anything you want me to do. And I went and I got first place and the overall. And the second time, I did the same thing. I just opened the door and I say, Lord, I would do anything you want me to do if I win. And first place and the overall. My spiritual mother, she gave me all the information about Medjugorje. And it was so much, I couldn't even say that word Medjugorje. And I asked a lady, I said to Blessed Mother, I said, if I can go to Medjugorje with my 2 children, I'll make sure I'll go with a white long dress. to give you a thank you. And I will go up on the hill without my shoes. All will be all barefoot. We got in Medjugorje. It was wonderful, great peace, and praying the rosary. I was like I was in heaven. I felt her so close to me. We went to the Operation Hill at that night. It was raining, very mess, staining, mud, and I was on my white dress. The group I was supposed to go with, we were split in groups, and they say, "Oh, your dress will be ruined." I say, "No, I must keep my promise. I promised Our Lady that I will be on my white dress." So during the operation, I felt this heat over me, and after we all went down, everybody messy, and then people approaching me and say, "How you managed to keep this dress so clean?" And I looked at myself and I don't know. And that was it. And I kept that dress, and I said, "Well, they will be buried the day I die. Please bury me in that dress." So, but I came back to the United States, and I kept doing two ways. I was taking care of the elderly, and I was still doing bodybuilding. And I was two-way street. It was hard to let it go because there was so many famous people, so many prestige, and this rich man that was smuggling diamonds in the country want to use my body to smuggle diamond in the country easily without being worried. He said my body would distract any custom. But on top of that, I had, if I had said yes to his proposal, I would have a FBI badge to come through custom. But with that, it came the pressure again in my heart. And I say, "Dear lady, if you want me to let it go, my lifestyle, please take me there for the second time with my children." I got to Medjugorje for the second time, and for 3 days in a row, I woke up 3 o'clock in the morning, and I would just sob, and I could see my life going like a movie, and it was I couldn't stop crying. I was sobbing, and I felt a strong presence on my side. I never turned to see if it was Jesus or Mother Mary, but it was nothing very. There was nothing pointing at me or putting me down. It was so loving, the feeling I felt, that I just couldn't stop crying for the whole hour. And my worry I was going to wake up the people, but it was just something that just kept going for a whole hour. And then I stopped, and after the third day, I went to Father Pavich for confession, and I told him what I saw, and he said, "You got to see your soul as God sees. And now it's up to you when you go back to the States, what you're going to do with it." So when I came back to the state, there was my big show was coming up, and my trainer at that point, I had to have a trainer because I was so tired training people, and I had to have a trainer. I told John, I say, "John, I'm not going to this show." It was very popular show, and the bodybuilding show. And he said, "Are you crazy? You have this body and you're gonna waste it?" "No, I'm not wasting. I'm going to Jesus. I'm gonna follow Jesus." He said, "Have you ever seen a bodybuilder driving a Honda?" I say, "John, I'm not sure. I don't care what the bodybuilders drive. I'm keeping my Honda and I'm following Jesus." And since then, I never had so much peace in my life. And I told my children that every Hail Mary was making the devil weak in our lives. And it will make Mama strong to stay closer to Jesus and to do what Our Lady wants us to do. And Our Lady gave me such a soft heart to forgive. I forgave my uncle. I forgave everybody. I'm friend with everyone. My ex-husband, we are good friends. The kids have a great relationship with their father. It's all the way Our Lady led me to Jesus and to forgiveness. Forgiveness is the main key for peace. And Our Lady gives me that peace. She wants us to be strong on our faith and to stay close to Jesus.
My name is Michael O'Neill. I'm the Miracle Hunter. We're looking at the miraculous icons of the Virgin Mary from all around the world. A famous one from Croatia, Mother of Bistrica, is one of these black Madonnas that are seen throughout all of Europe. In this case, it was made around 1400, but it was buried for safekeeping in protection from the Turks. But in 1525, a supernatural light shone upon that spot and they rediscovered where it was buried. In 1588, they had to bury it in the walls again, and in 1684, it was discovered another time. In 1930, she was declared the Mother of Croatia and became known as one of the most famous Marian icons in all of Christian history.
Are you searching for answers? Discover your true identity. Stay tuned to Shalom World.